with an AEW star, talking about signing with WWE and more. This is Wrestling Rambles. My name is John, and you're watching the Wrestling Report. Before we move on, make sure you subscribe to Wrestling Rambles with notifications on, and don't forget to like the video. In a video, CM Punk can be seen doing an intense triceps workout as he appears to be recovered following his injury and surgery. During his visit at the WWE headquarters, Drew McIntyre would post a couple clips, one where he takes a shot at CM Punk and another where he hints at a match with Cody Rhodes.
I'm trapped. This is my life now. I don't think I'll be able to escape WWE headquarters. And this is cool, original, unique content I'm doing right here, but I don't know how to escape. I'm really down with the kids. If only there was like an exit or something. I mean, obviously this is not going to work. Oh. All it took was some tricep strength. This place is pretty incredible. The Wall of Champions here. Some truth. Bailey earned that. Cody. Seen you down the line. Liv embraced the hate, good for her. And there's the one big glaring problem in the entire headquarters. The emo taker is champion. Let's fix this. BS paper champion stinking up the place. Alright. Yeah. I used to do some more working out, but it's a lot better than it was.
Touching on the future of TNA Wrestling and the promotion establishing itself as the third biggest company in pro wrestling, Eric Bischoff said on his YouTube channel show, Wise Choices, here's what it's going to take. Television. Without the television revenue, without the licensing revenue that television potentially has, they don't tour. They're never going to make enough money on pay-per-views to sustain any growth, or less probably really stay in business, unless and until TNA is able to find a way to make a significant portion of its annual revenue from a television licensing deal that is going to be sufficient to let them produce and grow. They're going to continue to do what they're doing now, regardless of the quality or the talent, the quality of the show or the talent of the people behind the scenes or in front of the camera. It just is what it is. Ringside News added that Mike Johnson of PW Insider reports that TNA seems to be undergoing some cost-cutting measures as they reorganize, leading to departures within the company. However, he notes that this doesn't necessarily warrant immediate concern, as TNA has historically found ways to adapt and move forward. There are talks of TNA securing a new permanent venue for television production, potentially even hosting live weekly shows. This move could stabilize costs and provide a more predictable framework for operations. I can tell you that we have heard that they are trying to lock in a new permanent location where they could produce television, perhaps even live weekly. And once they do that, they should be in a better place, because you would think that the costs would be pretty much fixed week to week or taping to taping at that point. Johnson reassures that unlike previous instances, there haven't been reports of talent experiencing payment delays or receiving less than what was promised under Anthem's ownership. This contrasts with past experiences under different ownership. We have also reported that TNA is making major changes to their weekly television show. Taking a shot at AEW for booking Swerve Strickland in a world title defense against Roderick Strong, former WWE referee Jimmy Cordera said this in a video on X.
Looking forward to tonight's Dynamite for several reasons, but one of them has me going, hello everyone, former pro wrestling referee Jimmy Cordera with your Ref and Rant for today. Enjoying the Reffing It Up podcast with my good brother in stripes, Brian Hebner, and I. Last week, Les Thatcher with a banger. This week, Raymond Rougeau, another banger. Check it out. You'll love it. So tonight on Dynamite, a lot of good things going to happen. I'm really curious to see MJF is going to appear, and I want to hear what he has to say. But the main event, which should be the main event, I guess, is AEW World Heavyweight Champion Swerve Strickland defending against Roderick Strong. My only question is, why? Yes, I understand it is a great matchup, and Roderick Strong went to Tony Khan and complained, I should have been in this, I should have been in the gauntlet match, I should have... Okay, so that's your criteria for having a shot at the championship, going and bitching at the owner that you didn't get a shot and you should have got a shot after you just lost your championship? To me, that makes no sense. Yes, will it be a good match? Of course it will be, because both guys can go. But that's not the point here. The point is we need reasons for these to happen, not just, oh, it's going to be a great matchup.
When it comes to the reason for Kevin Kelly's departure from AEW, Ringside News wrote that speculation swirled around Kevin Kelly's sudden absence after his return to AEW, a move that sparked a range of reactions among fans. Matters escalated when Kevin Kelly publicly voiced criticisms against Ian Riccaboni prior to the AEW Revolution pay-per-view, alleging defamation and underscoring his significance within the company. But the idea of what I bring to the table is lost there because Ian libeled me, so I sit on the bench valued by my peers waiting to get my number called. It was then reported that Kevin Kelly's absence was tied to a legal matter as well, and Kelly is now doing other pro wrestling related work now that he is no longer with AEW. During a virtual signing for KNS WrestleFest, Kevin Kelly opened up about his departure, shedding light on his issues with Ring of Honor commentator Ian Riccaboni and the QAnon accusation against him. Kelly explained that his rift with Riccaboni stemmed from Ian speaking negatively about him in a New Japan Pro Wrestling Discord chat while Kelly was away doing commentary for the G1 Climax. Kelly expressed a desire to address the issues with Riccaboni directly, but claimed that they never had the opportunity for an in-depth conversation. He detailed feeling out of place in AEW, questioning the similarities between Collision and Dynamite. Kelly mentioned expressing his frustrations to management, which ultimately led to his release. Sure felt like it, Ian Riccaboni was plotting against me. Yeah, Riccaboni took over from me in Ring of Honor because I got him a job. We were friends. It still makes no sense. Ian Riccaboni, I first met him at the Monster Factory. Bob Evans said to me, Brutal Bob Evans, who had been doing a lot of training with the Monster Factory crew, said, you need to meet Ian because he's really good and he's special and he should get a look for Ring of Honor. So I went there, did a seminar, met him and was like, oh my gosh, yes, let's see how you do. Come on with me. We'll start having you come local. So anything in the Northeast, and he made some long drives and did it the right way, and it was like, okay, he called the dark matches. He could do Women of Honor, so it would be unique, different branding, and we got along great and we worked together on some shows. Everything was fine. When Joey Mercury left, I found out that Ian was kind of, as Dennis Corluzzo used to say, putting the mouth on me. Ian was in the office. Yeah, after I was gone. Because I went to New Japan, I was like, alright. I talked to some people about it, and I was like, I'm not gonna worry about it. Yeah, whatever. But then I start doing this AEW thing, and Tony Khan told me I first wanted Ian Riccaboni to do Collision, but he couldn't because of his day job. Okay, so Ian recommended me. Great, cool. I go away. They knew this. I go away to do the G1. I'm gone 5 weeks. I come back, and it's like Ian's hammered me on Discord on this New Japan message board about, I did all these different things to him over the years, which I never knew. I had no clue, and then to top it all off, he accuses me of being some QAnon conspiracy theorist for supporting a movie that was against child trafficking. That's neither here nor there. The part that bothers me so much is that I thought we were friends, and if he would have called me, we could have talked about it. Hey Kevin, listen, you're really pissing me off. And even if we would have agreed to never be friends before, if you would have just called me up and said, F you, I hate you, I never want to see you again, at least I would know where I stood, and then I could work towards fixing what I had done wrong. But instead, the way that he went about it painted me with a nasty brush, and it was done on purpose so that the fans would turn against me because he did it in a New Japan Discord board, and people were messaging me that I'm friends with because I'd go there all the time. That's how I found out about it. Jet lag post G1. I wake up, I was like, oh, let's see what they're saying about us. Hey, wait a minute, what the hell? And people that I'm friendly with in there were like, what is Ian doing? Why is he doing this? I have no idea. So I message him and it's like, hey, what's going on? Well, you said and did a bunch of different things to me over the years and I'm pissed off about it. Okay, but well, let's talk about it. Well, I'll only talk to you if you guarantee that you're not going to record the call. I'm like, I wouldn't know how to record a call off a cell phone. What are you, crazy? Yeah, sure. We need to talk about this. We need to talk about this. And we never did. And then things started to change within AEW, and it was almost like hand in glove. It was never a good fit, me being there. I came from New Japan where I was left alone and I knew what I was doing, and I was calling matches that were just like AEW, and all of a sudden now I've got all these people in my ear and I've got all this format and stuff, and it's like, why do we have to do things the same way Dynamite is what I said. Why do we have to be the same show? Don't we want Collision to be different? Isn't this a different thing? Whether it was split because of CM Punk and the Young Bucks, I have no idea. That was never even brought up, but it was a separate show, Saturday night. Great, let's make it different. Let's do some different things. Why can't we as announcers be different? Because I'm different than Taz and Excalibur and Tony Schiavone, and just the handwriting was on the wall and it wasn't gonna work, and I was getting more and more pissed off, and I talked to the AEW office about it. I talked to them and I told them that I was mentally getting really in a bad spot over this too, and I vented, and when I vented, that's when they let me go. Despite the conflicts, Kelly maintained that he wanted to reconcile with Riccaboni. He recalled how their relationship had initially been positive and supportive. However, he learned that Riccaboni had harbored resentment toward him after Kelly's departure from Ring of Honor. Kelly also addressed criticisms about Riccaboni wearing a cowboy hat on Collision, suggesting it could cause friction with Jim Ross due to the hat's association with Calgary Stampede. Again, no harm, no foul with AEW. No. Big blame there, but I always wanted to straighten things out with Ian, and I feel terrible that he was mad at me over something he never told me, and it led to a bunch of different problems. One incident in particular, he did spell it out for me, and I did say it to him. I meant it in like I won't go into it, but I didn't get the chance to explain it, but I understood how it could be taken the wrong way. And oh, the other thing that he said was that I knocked him for wearing a hat on Collision, which I did, a cowboy hat, because he's sitting right next to Jim Ross, because they're in Calgary in Stampede. And I was like, saying it because guess what? You're gonna get heat with JR if you're wearing a cowboy hat sitting next to him at the announce desk. Whether he says it's okay or not, that doesn't matter. And it was born in Calgary. It was born at the Stampede, and he's the one who wears the cowboy hat. Why would you do that? Whatever. Listen, Ian got upset about that. Give me a break. Kevin Kelly continued to express his negative feelings towards AEW, emphasizing that his departure was a result of publicly airing his grievances with Ian Riccaboni and venting to Human Resources via voicemail. Co-executive producer Mike Manzuri and the vice president of Human Resources informed Kelly of his exit, but the disciplinary committee's decision regarding his future was initially kept private. Kelly highlighted that his mental health was deteriorating during this time and criticized AEW's handling of the situation. He clarified that by this point, his issues were no longer solely about Riccaboni, although he admitted to associating Ian with his overall frustrations. Kelly expressed that he found much greater satisfaction working in New Japan Pro Wrestling. Of course, I have ill feelings towards AEW for how things ended. I wouldn't treat my worst enemy like that. Mike Manzuri told me I was being let go. The executive producer and the new vice president of Human Resources, who I'd never met and spoke to ever before. I knocked the company on Twitter and vented on a voicemail to the HR lady that I had been working with. Problem was, I never knew where I brought up this whole thing with Ian Riccaboni, and they said, yes, good. Thank you for bringing it up. What's going to happen? I said, what's the process? Well, we'll discuss it. We'll let you know. And apparently the disciplinary committee got together and made a decision. Okay, what was the decision? Well, we can't tell you because it's private. Wait a minute. I was the one who was the victim here. I need to know what happened so I can put this to bed in my mind. Well, we just can't tell you. Okay, this is very upsetting for me. You have to understand this. Nah, we really don't understand and we don't care. So whatever, they'll get theirs. My mental health was not good. From when this began, and it was taking a toll on my marriage, on my family, on me personally, physically, mentally, and I mean, it's really nobody's business, but my mental health was not good. It's better now, thank God. I've gotten some help, I've gotten fixed. Well, working on being fixed as we all can be. But for a company that cares so much about their athletes, I booked an appointment with the psychiatrist, and I got all the text messages of me just ranting and raving with the poor guy, David Weinstein. I set up an appointment with him on Thursday because we were taping TV that next day, and then they fired me on Wednesday. So you guys really care about the people that you employ. So yeah, it wasn't about Ian at that point anymore, but I did kind of lump him in all of it. But now it's like I'm trying to process it. So forgiving him is easy. Forgiving him, it's already done as far as I'm concerned. But again, you cannot do something like that. It happened to a much greater extent. I'm not comparing myself to it at all, but to Hana Kimura, because when you bring down the force of social media onto a person, wrongly accusing someone, there are consequences. You can't do that. You shouldn't do that. And I mean, what happened to Hana, of course, was much worse than what happened to me. I'm not even comparing those, but again, it's the same type of thing, and that's really just it. I was not a fit for AEW. I just felt like it was a very different kind of place and very stressful. So many people, there was so much chaos, and it just really stressed me out a lot. So I was much happier in New Japan, except for the flights. During an interview with Sports Illustrated, former AEW World Champion MJF reflected on his match at the World's End event against Samoa Joe. As he said, as far as that Samoa Joe match goes, full transparency, my shoulder was so messed up I couldn't even do cardio. When I ran, my arms would swing slightly and the pain that would cause was unbearable. But I got in the ring that night to do my job. Frankly, I find that interesting. A lot of people in my generation are pussies. Please print that. They're too afraid to get in there when they have a boo-boo. That's not how I operate. I take my job very seriously. If you put MJF on the top of the billing, I'm showing up. And one more thing about that match. Jose Tubby, little, and if we ever wrestle again, I'm going to bite his face off. I will give him credit. MJF then said this regarding a potential move to WWE when he previously teased his AEW contract coming up. Of course, there was. Am I going to get into the weeds? No. At this point in time, this move made the most sense for me. I'm making a ton of money. As far as when the contract ends, that's nobody's business but my own. And this was your pro wrestling news update. I hope you're all having a great day. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see y'all later.